So I saw a comment the other day, and I'm not sure what video it was on. And the comment basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, every problem that every man has somehow leads back into a woman that was the cause of it. And at first glance, I kind of laughed at that, but I've got to be honest, there is some truth to that. Maybe not absolutely literally, but there is some truth to that. And I'll tell you why I say that. In my life, again, almost 40 years old at this point, and when I say every, I mean every older gentleman that I remember from my past, that I worked with or worked around or met throughout the years, every one of them had horror stories that were either losing a job, being locked up, whatever other horrid things happened, that all revolved around a woman. And in their telling of the story, the woman was usually lying or cheating or deceiving, something along those lines. In fact, I know one guy that did, 20 some years in the joint. Started off with a toxic girl he was seeing, and she got a no contact order on him or something along those lines. He wasn't supposed to be around her because of their arguing and fighting. And she called him and left him a voicemail. Back in the day, you had the answering machine. She left a voicemail saying, I miss you and I want you to come over, something like that. He went over there. She called the police just to get him arrested again. Most of the men that I know now that have major regrets, they're financially, broken down, they're emotionally distraught, chaos and headaches that have gone on in their life also lead back to women. But here's the problem. Every single one of those guys, I will argue, probably overlooked red flags. Every single one. Nobody is going to convince me that the girl that caused all this chaos was perfect up until the day the chaos arose. The biggest problem most men face is they are willing to overlook horrid things. They're willing to overlook red flags for the sake of getting some action, for the sake of not being alone, for the sake of whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, I'm a firm believer that most people would be single if they were more self-respecting and more hardline on not putting up with bad behavior, especially today. Today we have bad behavior being rampant, and it's being celebrated most of the time. One thing that I can say men overall need to do better is saying something and meaning it. Being willing to walk away and mean it and never look back, because too many men threaten that but actually don't follow through on that. If you see somebody that says or does something that sets your spidey senses off, you can't ignore that. You have to pay attention to that. If you ignore it, you will pay the price. People show you who they are. They slip. Women will slip by making some trashy remark that rubs you the wrong way, or they'll say something that doesn't corroborate something they've said in the past. Most men hear stuff and see stuff that bothers them, and they overlook it because either they have like a lack of options and, the typical scarcity mindset that everybody talks about. Maybe they just are willing to overlook it because they want to get some action or keep getting action for that matter. Or maybe they're just hard-headed and stupid. One of the things I'm most proud of in my life is something that a lot of people would consider to be pretty toxic. And that's where I don't usually give many like second or third chances if I'm dating somebody or seeing somebody, even at the beginning stages or whatever stage. If somebody tells me, I'll see you at 7, and they don't follow through, if that happens once, I get it. It already bothers me, but I can let shit slide if I feel like the excuse is legit. But if somebody multiple times says one thing and does another, or makes excuse after excuse on why this happened or why this didn't happen, it's your job to catch that. It's your job to protect yourself by stepping away from that person or that situation. It's nobody else's job but your own. This is by far the biggest problem most men face when it comes to dealing with women on any level. They just let women get away with terrible behavior. And it just breeds more toxicity in women because they don't face any repercussions for bad things they say or do. And like I said, the people that I know from my past did time being locked up and, lost this and lost that, wasted so much time. As I picked those people's brains and as I listened to their stories that they told, even at a young age, I remember thinking to myself, why would you keep talking to this person? Why would you not cut that off? She said what? She did what? I mean, there was one guy that I used to know who said that he was in this toxic relationship and she would be like physically violent to him. And it's just like, dude, I can't feel sorry for you if you've got stories like that and you continue to see this person. Like, how do you expect me to feel sorry for you? You guys have to learn to recognize bad behavior or red flags. You have to learn to recognize those and get away fast. Pull the Band-Aid off. Cut it off quick. Or at least, some of you might morally disagree with this, at the very least, identify somebody that's not worthy of long-term serious relationship status and just put them in the category of friends with benefits. Again, not everyone's going to morally agree with that. I don't really recommend hooking up with people that you're not willing to be in a long-term relationship with, but I'm not here to argue that point in this video. I'm just saying you guys need to recognize behaviors and approach it accordingly. Handle the situation accordingly. If you have something that's bothering you and you overlook it, there's nobody to blame but yourself when that comes back and bites you. There was an old quote from DMX somebody sent me, the rapper DMX, and it was like in an interview, and I'm paraphrasing. He said something along the lines of, trust a snake to bite you, trust a thief to steal from you, trust a liar to lie to you, trust a cheater to cheat on you, like something like that. Trust people to be who they are, who they show you that they are, who they tell you that they are. Most men that have been through bad situations with women ignored red flags. I don't think anybody's going to convince me otherwise. All of you that leave comments, if you're being honest, I'm willing to bet you guys will agree with this. I'm willing to bet at least most of you will agree with this point. If you pay attention to red flags, no matter how fast they come, no matter how subtle they might be, if you pay attention to them and you take them seriously and you protect yourself like your life depends on it, because it does, I'm willing to bet you will have little to no issues in your life brought on by women. Pick wisely.